realized this morning that I only have 29 true working days left this year. If that number makes your stomach drop a little bit too, then this is the video for you. We feel like there's still so much time left in the year because we've been riding this steady fall energy. But if you actually pull out your calendar and you subtract things like holiday parties, year-end meetings, family obligations, time off, that new year is rapidly approaching. So today I'm going to be walking you through practical end of year checklist items that will prevent that January chaos and set you up to feel good on January 1st instead of feeling behind. If we haven't met before, I'm Adrienne, and with my co-creator Mary, we have spent the past 5+ years building an online community where women come together to share tips on home organization, productivity, and life hacks. Here you'll find warm conversations and practical solutions to help make your life a little easier and a lot more enjoyable. After helping hundreds of women, we're excited to expand to YouTube to share our content with a wider audience. So grab a cup of whatever you love, settle in, and let's start creating our best lives together, one week at a time. As always, please help us in our journey by hitting the like, subscribe, and share buttons below. Also, real quick, if you are kind of surprised by how few working days are left in the year, comment the word same below just so I know I'm not the only one who's shocked by how fast this year flew by. Okay, let's get into it. So today we're going to be covering three main sections. The first is going to be financial and paperwork wins that you need to tackle while everything is still fresh in your mind. Next, we'll talk about work-related tasks to close out your year strong. And finally, we're going to talk about strategic home prep. What can you do now? What can you defer? And what maybe do you just skip entirely? Our goal today is simple. It's not about doing everything perfectly. In fact, it's not about doing everything at all. And it's definitely not about trying to impress anyone. This is just about creating space. That could be mental space, financial space, or physical, tangible space for whatever you want to prioritize in these last few months. By handling the small stuff now, we're able to free our focus on what actually matters to us as we close out the year. With that being said, let's dive into the first section, which is the financial and paperwork tidy. Here I have 4 quick wins for you. The first one has to deal with taxes. And I know, nobody wants to talk about taxes right now. But the truth is that information is fresh. So, like, for example, if you track mileage for work or volunteer activities, you want to be able to pull those logs now, or at least set a reminder to take a picture of your odometer at the end of the year. If you have receipts for deductible expenses, you don't have to do anything with them yet. Just corral them so you're not scrambling in April. I personally like these Stereolite bins that are designed to hold paper. And the best part about these is that they lock. So you don't have to worry about anything coming in to the box or anything falling out. And you also don't have to worry about spills or pets getting into them during the crazy holiday season. And while we're talking about taxes, if you have any questions for your tax preparer accountant, or maybe you want to discuss new ways that you can get tax cuts or different programs that you may be eligible for, now is the best time to schedule those appointments because they're not in an active tax rush. The second item in this category is expiring resources. So these are things like rebates, refunds, credit card perks, or programs that have a yearly cycle, like your medical program or your employee assistance program. You just want to look through it and see if there's like a program that is available to you, maybe just once a year. So, for example, in a lot of employee assistance programs, they will have like a financial review, or you can get somebody to help you with your budget, but you can only do that once every calendar year. Probably the king expiring resource in this category is flexible spending accounts. If you have a flexible spending account or an FSA, these plans are almost all use it or lose it. So now is the time to stock up on things like contact lenses, prescription sunglasses, or even just buying first aid kits for your car. It's money you already set aside, so you want to make sure that you use it before it goes back to the government. Number 3, do a wallet and purse check. We're looking for things like expiring high value coupons, gift cards, gift certificates, literal money that you're leaving on the table if you don't use it. In our family, we personally love gift cards, and I know not everybody does, but we find this is a great time of year to stock up when there's sales like buy a $50 gift card, get a $15 bonus one. And I found the best way for us is to keep them in this 100 envelope challenge binder, which we then just keep in the car. Keeps them handy, keeps them easily accessible, and we know where they are at all times. But I know there's a lot of people that don't love gift cards. And if you're one of them, then this is the perfect time of year to use them. You could go on a holiday tasting in your town. You could try out all the seasonal food and drinks that the restaurants put out. You can use them to catch up with a friend. You avoid that awkward "where do you want to go" conversation, and because it's prepaid, you're not taking money out of this month's budget. Or we also like to use our gift cards to purchase catering items for holiday potlucks and last minute get-togethers. For example, you can buy a tray of Chick-fil-A mini biscuits, or you could pick up a chip and salsa spread from a place like Chipotle. And while your wallet's out, check those driver's license and credit cards to see if any of them are expiring soon. The final item in this category is subscriptions. Just do a quick mental review. What subscriptions are you actually using? What are you paying for that you really haven't touched in months or that you won't be touching over the holiday season? Think things like streaming services, monthly boxes, magazines. Ideally, cancel or at least skip on one or two of these services, which will free up cash and declutter your mental load from what you should be using or doing. Section 2 is all about the work related task. Let's make sure you're maximizing your benefits and setting yourself up for that highest level of success. We'll start with the easiest, which is work benefits and time off. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye out for benefit renewals and make sure that you're checking your PTO and other leave day balances for this year. If you do have leave left, make sure you schedule those as quickly as possible because so many people wait until December and then they're like, oh, I have 3 days off, and they're trying to schedule it, and you just wind up having weird vacation days, and we don't want that for you. Also, take a moment to strategically plan your vacation time for next year. I would personally Google or put this into ChatGPT so you can talk to them about your own personal needs and what holidays your company uses. But by bridging certain weekends with certain federal holidays, you can actually create 9 days off for yourself multiple times a year by using very few PTO days. I'm going to pop up on the screen some examples of how you could do that in this coming year. But again, I would just go ahead and look at it on your own and possibly use a Google or ChatGPT software. I've seen people be able to take 15 days of PTO and turn them into 53 days off of work, or someone take 11 days of PTO and turn it into like 40 days off. So it just depends on the year and how the holidays fall. But by doing this, you're also checking if there's any weird holidays like the 4th of July or New Year's Day where you can maybe just even take one day and have a really nice long weekend. I'm going to pop up on the screen some examples of how you could do that in this coming year. And I know you know this, but the end of the year means it's time for that dreaded end of year performance review. So don't wait, friends, until your manager or your HR team sends you an email. Go ahead and start gathering your notes and wrapping up any projects ASAP. I know I am guilty of having that year-end blindness. I'm rolling through my fall, and then all of a sudden it's Thanksgiving, and boom, you're on this slippery downhill slope, and then your manager's like, "Oh, I need your performance review." Save yourself a little bit of stress and get ahead of it. At the very least, go ahead and just read through your goals and make sure that there's not like one that just kind of like popped in there into your evaluation or one that you have met, but it just doesn't sound like you took a lot of action on. It's better to find out now when you can still take some time to do those tasks than to find out at the end of November when your performance evaluation is due. A great example of this that I see time and time again is around like standard diversity or safety initiatives where it's the same for like everyone in that location or everyone in that company. So the good news is, say you didn't think at all about your safety initiative. You're like, yeah, everybody was safe. It's great. And that's okay, but it's not the best because it's not showing you did something proactively. You could just take an hour and do some ergonomic assessment of your work area. You could complete an online class or online certificate. You could even just go around and do a few quick safety audits around the building to show that you have taken proactive safety measures over the course of the year. Is that course of the year a few weeks? Yes. But still, it doesn't matter. It's over the course of the year. It sounds way better than someone who just says, I met that objective. Diversity is another one. It's really hard because it depends on your specific company goals, but you don't want to write something like, oh, yeah, I'm diverse. What does that even mean, right? So you could, if you just have like a couple weeks left to do this, you could schedule a couple coffee chats with international coworkers. You could go to an employee resource group or see if they have like replays of their previous meetings. Or one of my personal favorites is to find a book around that. Particularly, like if I was doing diversity, I would find one around communication styles with different types of people. I would read it, or at least read enough of it, and I would implement two things from that book. So, in this example, instead of just saying, yes, I support diversity, you can say, in addition to staying up on the latest employee resource group offerings and meeting with several of my coworkers in India for virtual coffee chats, where we talk about work styles and cultures. I have read many books this year, including XYZ book, which has helped me improve my writing skills and communicate my message across blank groups. Is this great? No. But is it way better than nothing? Absolutely. The bonus points here are if you can actually start working towards next year's goals now. And the best way to do this is by making a list of people that you need buy in from or who you want to brainstorm with, and then try to meet with them during those quiet days around the holidays when everyone is just in that limbo. Even top leaders are usually freer at this time and willing to help. Perhaps it's that message of goodwill to men that keeps playing on repeat. But either way, this will move you so much further ahead than if you use that natural lull in the work cycle to clean out your email or like the company stack drawer. Okay, before we tackle the biggest area of all, our homes, I want to quickly say that if you are finding this information helpful, please do hit that subscribe button. Mary and I post every week about creating a life that works for you, not Instagram. The final section we're going to be talking about today is strategic home prep, or the art of good enough. Let's talk about our homes. This is where so many of us feel so much pressure to do all the things. But today we're approaching this strategically. We're prioritizing based on personal impact, not someone else's or worse, the internet standards. I break the home prep into three categories. So the first category is must do now. These are about safety, maintenance, basic functionality. Things like checking your gutter before the heavy winter weather, insulating outdoor faucets so they don't freeze, checking smoke detectors. They're non negotiables because they prevent bigger, more expensive problems. They protect your home and they give you peace of mind. If you have company visiting, like over the holidays, you can also make a list of these types of items that you need help with and then just let them know in advance. I know my husband and I, well, okay, mostly my husband gets asked to help with things. And we don't mind helping, but if we know in advance, it's just so much easier because he can then decide when he wants to tackle it during the course of the visit. He can bring any of his own tools that he wants to have on them. And then he also can take that time to highlight any issues or extra supplies that may be needed in advance of the visit. The second category is called high impact joy. And this is the game changing category. So just ask yourself, what will I appreciate most? What will bring me the most comfort and happiness during these colder, darker months? Maybe it's organizing the entryway so it's not a chaotic coat and boot mess every day. Maybe it's setting up a cozy outdoor space with blankets so you can still enjoy the fresh air. Or maybe it's finally hanging those pictures that have been leaning against the wall for way too long. These tasks have a direct positive effect on your daily life. They pay you back in joy. And in this area, it's also important to ask, what is the minimum amount that I need to do to experience joy? For example, I personally love having a fire pit in the cooler months, but it's such a pain to clean out that large fire pit. You're committing to it for at least an hour for it to start burning and then burn through and then to make sure that the fire is completely put out. I actually came across a tiny table fire pit that runs off a small bag of wood chips. I think they're like $2 at Walmart. And this setup is perfect. It takes no time. It's literally just a little pot. You put some wood chips in, light it, you're good to go. It only runs for about 20 minutes if you don't add any more wood. And then the soot is minimal. It's easy to clean up. So instead of me only doing a fire like once, maybe twice a season because it just took so long, now it's like, hey, let's go sit by the fire for 20 minutes and it's easy to incorporate. I think sometimes we feel we have to go for the perfect solution or the best Pinterest worthy idea when really that good enough brings us the joy and the feels that we're. The final category is perhaps the best in that it's the defer or skip category. And this is where you're going to give yourself explicit permission to leave tasks for future you, or maybe just skip them altogether. For example, cleaning out the shed, that can totally wait until spring. Painting the lawn furniture, that too can wait till spring. And yes, you can even skip decorating for every single holiday if it just feels like a chore to you. Sure, you can make a list for future use so you don't forget all those items that you defer. But regardless if you make a list or not, let the things that can wait wait without guilt. If you need time for making memories, re energizing, or working towards a goal that's more important to you right now. This is definitely easier said than done. So, for example, this past summer, I knew I needed more time to work on my business and launching this YouTube channel. So, I didn't plant a garden, which I always do, right? I literally brought almost no plants, and I told myself, this is just not the year for this. It doesn't mean I'll never garden again, but I intentionally gave myself the space and reminded myself often that it's okay to skip this year for this bigger goal. So that's our checklist. We love to hear from you what else you would add to it. And we challenge you to pick just one thing from this list that will help move you forward into the new year. If this video was helpful to you, please hit that like button. And remember, we're building a community of real women creating real sustainable lives, not that Pinterest perfection. Until next time, friends, cheers.